Problem 110. For this problem, we need to use elimination or sum or difference method for these linear equations. First, we need to put them in standard form with ax plus by equals c. Since they are already in standard form, we need to multiply both linear equations or only one, so that when we do the sum of them, we get rid of one variable. So in this case, we can multiply this one by -2. So it will be -2 times this equation. We will have -14x minus 2y equals -38. Now we pass the other linear equation, which is 3x plus 2y equals 16. So when we sum these two linear equations, we will get -14x plus 3x is -11x, -2y plus 2y, they cancel, so we get rid of this variable, and -38 plus 16 is -22. Now we need to leave the x alone, so we pass the -11 dividing. So we will have +2. So the value for our x is 2. Then this, we are going to substitute it in either of the two original equations. We will choose this one, and it will be 3x, so in the x we put 2, plus 2y equals 16. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2y equals 16. We pass the 6 subtracting, and we will have a 10. And then we pass the 2 dividing, so it will be a 10 divided by 2, and we will have 5. Now we have both signs, and it is 2, 5. Then we need to say if this set of linear equations is consistent, inconsistent, and independent or independent. For that, we need to put them in the slope-intercept form. So this one, we pass the x subtracting like a negative, so it will be -3x plus 16. We pass it to dividing, so we will have y equals -3 over 2x plus 8. And the second one is 7x plus y equals 19. We pass this one subtracting, so it will be y equals -7x plus 19. As you can see, this one and this one, they have different slope and different y-intercept, so the answer is consistent, independent. So we get consistent independent because the slope here is the next one to the x. Here is -3 halves, and here is 7. They are different, and the b is the y-intercept, which is 8 and 19. So since they are different, it is consistent independent. That means that eventually at one point they will intersect. We'll do problem 123. This problem, we have to solve the quadratic equation by completing the squares. And the problem is x squared minus 24x minus 2 equals 23. A quadratic equation has the formula of the following. Okay, so when we have to complete the square first, we have to leave the one that has to the second power, we have to leave it with a 1. Since it is already the x alone, so we don't have to do a step. Next, we have to pass the c term to the other side. So we have x squared minus 24x equals 23 plus 2, which is 25. Then here we have of the middle term, we have to take half of it, which is negative 12, and then the square, which is 144. And we put it here as the third term. Since we are adding here, we also have to add it to the other place, so it will be plus 144. And this is equals to 169. Then, this part, we have to put it in the squared form, which is the first term minus this one, that is the one we take from the middle term, which is 12 squared. Then we will take the square root in both sides. When we have something square and we put the square root, they will cancel and we will have the thing that is in the parentheses, so it will be x minus 12. And in the other side, square root of 169 is 13, and it is plus minus 169. Now we have to take the signs of the x, so we will, here is 13. Plus minus 13. Okay, so x, first we will use the plus 13. We pass it to the other side, the negative 12, as plus 12. So the first x will give us 25. And for the second x, we will use the negative 13. So x minus 12, the negative 13. We pass this one adding, x equals negative 13 plus 12. X equals negative 1. So our first x will be, our first x is equal to 25, and our second x is equal to negative 1. And that's our final answer. Now we will do our last problem, which is 133. In this problem, we need to solve the equations by the graphing method. The two equations we have, the first one is 9x squared minus 4y equals 8. And the second one is x squared plus y equals 25. To solve by the graphing method, we need to do a table for each of the equations, and we need to leave the y alone. So for this one, we will have y equals 9 over 4 x squared minus 2. What we did is we leave the y alone, so we pass this one subtracting, and then we divide it by negative 4, which makes it positive, and then the 8 divided by negative 4 makes it negative 2. Okay, so this is our first equation in the slope-intercept form. We need to put values to the x, so we get our y value, so then we can mark those points in the graph. We will use negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, and 1. And what you have to do with these values is substitute them in the x. So here we will put negative 3, and when you solve this equation in the y, you will get 18 1/4. You have to do the same with all of the values, and eventually you get, for the negative 2, 7, for negative 1, 1/4, for 0, negative 2, and for 1, again 1/4. So we have the value for the first equation. Now we have to do the second one. We have to leave it again in slope-intercept form. So we pass the x squared subtracting. So we will have y equals negative x squared plus 25. Again, we do our table. Here goes the x value, and here we will get the y. Here we will use -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Here, since we have the negative, we will, like the first example, it will be, since it's -3, the negative, and in parentheses you put the x, which is -3 squared plus 25. This is 9, you put the negative, -9 plus 25 is 16. You have to do that with all the signs, and you will get for -2, 21, -1, 24, 0, 25, 1, 24. As you can see, they are already repeating. 2, 21, and the last one, 3, 16. So now we have our coordinates for both linear equations. Now we are going to graph it. Okay. So here we have a graph. Each line is 4 points. So we will graph the first equation. For -3, we have -3 in the x, so it will be here, and 18, 1/4. So it will be 4, 8, 12, 16, like here. We put our first point. Then for -2, it will be 7, 4, here. For -1, it will be 1/4, so -1, almost at 0. For 0, so we stay there, it will be -2, so it will be here. Okay, it's -2, so it will be here in the y-intercept. And for 1 is 1/4. So again, it is repeating, we put it here. So since it is already repeating, we can put the same points in the other side. Here, okay. So we have already graphed our first equation. Okay, now we are going to do our second equation. Okay, for -3 is 16, so -3 is 4, 8, 12, 16. -2, 21, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21. For -1 is 24, 4, 8, 12, 20, 24. Okay. Okay, here. 0, 25. So in the y-intercept, we put it here in 25. And again, since we already reached our y-intercept, they will repeat. So it will be here. And we can plot them like in the same place, but the x will be the opposite. So this one go down. So it's like this. As you can see, they intersect at this point. Here and here. So the intersection point is intersect point. It will be -3, 16. And since they intersect again here, it will be +3, 16. And that's the final answer.